when I walked through the front door and told my family my tech firm had laid off our entire division, nobody asked if I was okay. Instead, my sister stared at me with pure irritation and asked, "Who's going to pay my car loan now?" Before I could even answer, my father hauled 3 black garbage bags down the stairs and dropped them at my feet. "Your sister needs this room more than you do," he said coldly. Mom handed me my car keys without looking me in the eye. I didn't argue. I drove straight to the beach house they never knew I owned. The front door clicked shut behind me, the cold evening air lingering on my coat. I stood in the hallway, clutching the cardboard box containing 8 years of my career. My tech firm had cut our entire department by noon. My family was gathered in the living room, laughing around the coffee table. When I walked in and told them my position had been eliminated, the room didn't go quiet with sympathy. It went dead with resentment. My sister Chloe didn't even look up from scrolling on her phone. Her face twisted into immediate irritation. "Wait, you lost your job? Who's going to pay my car loan now?" Before I could process the sting of her words, heavy footsteps echoed on the staircase. My father came down carrying 3 large black garbage bags and dropped them at my feet. "Good timing," he said flatly, crossing his arms. "Your sister needs the upstairs bedroom for her online business and recording studio. Since you can't contribute to the household anymore, you need to clear out tonight." My mother walked over, avoiding my eyes, and placed my car keys into my open palm. "It's just practical, sweetie. You understand." No one asked if I was okay. No one asked how I would survive. I looked at the 3 garbage bags containing every piece of clothing and memory I owned under that roof. I didn't yell. I didn't beg. I simply picked up the bags, walked out into the rain, and started the engine. The rain beat against my windshield as I drove into the darkness, but beneath the sting of betrayal, a strange calm settled over me. For 6 long years, I had been the invisible pillar holding that entire house upright. As a senior database architect, I routinely put in 70-hour work weeks, surviving on lukewarm coffee and late-night server deployments. My salary was substantial, yet my personal lifestyle remained almost ascetic. I drove a 10-year-old sedan, wore plain clothes, and never indulged in expensive vacations. Why? Because every single month, over 70% of my paycheck went straight toward covering the family mortgage, the property taxes, the surging utility bills, and the luxury lease payments on Chloe's brand new convertible. They saw my silence as weakness. They assumed I was just a convenient, live-in ATM with nowhere else to go. But what my family never realized was that while I was being dutiful, I was never foolish. For years ago, after watching my father quietly sign Chloe's name onto another expensive credit line while expecting me to settle the balance, I created a private safeguard. I established an independent holding LLC and quietly purchased a distressed oceanfront estate on the rugged coast of Maine. Over 48 months, I poured my own private savings and weekend hours into fully restoring the property. It had cedar shingles, panoramic floor-to-ceiling glass overlooking the Atlantic, modern fiber-optic lines, and a completely paid-off title deed sitting securely in a private safety deposit box. They thought they had just thrown me onto the street with 3 garbage bags. In reality, they had finally given me the permission I needed to go home. The iron gate swung open smoothly, letting my headlights sweep across the weathered stone driveway. The ocean air smelled sharp and clean. Stepping inside the beach house, the soft hum of the climate control system greeted me alongside the rhythmic crash of the tide against the rocks below. I dropped the garbage bags onto the solid oak flooring, walked into the open-concept kitchen, and brewed a fresh pot of dark roast coffee. For the first time in years, the crushing weight in my chest was gone. There were no petty demands, no passive-aggressive remarks, and no manufactured family emergencies waiting for me to fix them. I pulled out my laptop, sat at the kitchen island, and opened my banking portal. It was time to sever every single tether. Methodically, line by line, I began the digital audit. I removed my name and banking information from the primary household electricity, water, and gas accounts. I canceled the automatic monthly drafts tied to Chloe's luxury car lease, her high-limit credit cards, and her premium gym membership. Next, I terminated the family phone plan and deleted every shared subscription service carrying my credit card on file. Finally, I redirected my 6-month corporate severance payout, a substantial 6-figure lump sum, into the private LLC treasury account. Not a single penny remained linked to the family household. I closed the laptop, took a sip of hot coffee, and looked out into the pitch-black Atlantic. They had discarded me the instant they believed I was penniless. Now they were about to learn what their lives actually cost without me. By sunrise, my new life was already moving forward. Within 48 hours of updating my professional status, 3 rival tech firms reached out with high-rate remote architecture contracts. My income didn't drop. It nearly doubled without the daily corporate grind. I set up my dual-monitor workstation facing the Atlantic Ocean, watching fishing boats drift past while I wrote clean database code in absolute silence. Back at the old house, however, reality hit like a brick wall. The first notification came on day 5. Chloe's luxury convertible lease payment failed to clear. 48 hours later, her boutique gym access was revoked, and her premium cell service cut out mid-scroll. By the end of the second week, the primary household utilities were severed. My phone, now linked exclusively to a private secondary number, began lighting up with missed calls and frantic voicemails. The tone shifted dramatically with every passing day. At first, it was Chloe's arrogant, entitled screech. "Hey, my cards are declining everywhere, and my car app says the payment bounced. Fix this right now. You're ruining my brand." 2 days later, my father's voice boomed through the speaker, furious and demanding. "Call me immediately. The power company just shut off our electricity, and the water pressure is gone. What did you do to the accounts? This is childish." By the end of the week, the anger had dissolved into sheer, unadulterated panic. My mother left a weeping message in the middle of the night. "Sweetie, please pick up. There's a tow truck parked in the driveway trying to repossess Chloe's car, and a formal foreclosure notice just arrived from the bank. We don't understand how the balances got this high. Where are you? We need your help." I listened to each recording in silence, deleted the audio files one by one, and went back to my work. For 3 weeks, complete radio silence hung over the Atlantic coast. I assumed they were scrambling to cut down their bloated expenses or negotiate payment plans with the utility companies. But entitlement dies hard, and instead of taking accountability, my family went hunting. My father, convinced I was hiding in a cheap motel or living out of my old sedan to spite them, hired an asset tracer. He thought he could track my whereabouts, serve me with legal demands for unpaid family maintenance, and force me back into being their financial lifeline. What the tracer uncovered shook them to their core. Through public county registry records, the investigator traced my private holding company directly to a prime, 2-acre oceanfront estate on the rocky bluffs of coastal Maine. A restored multi-story sanctuary, completely debt-free, valued at well over $2 million. The discovery didn't bring guilt or remorse. It brought rabid greed. In their warped minds, I hadn't built that asset through disciplined side consulting, smart investing, and sacrificial overtime. To them, every dollar I had ever earned belonged to the collective household. If I owned a luxury beachfront compound, it meant I had stolen family funds while claiming to be a simple corporate employee. I received a single, forwarded email from my mother that same afternoon. The tone was chillingly delusional. "We know what you've been hiding from us. We know about the Maine estate. Your father and I have decided this will be the family's new primary residence. Chloe has already packed her studio equipment for the top-floor master suite overlooking the water. We are driving up tomorrow to settle the deed transfer. Don't make this difficult." They genuinely believed they could kick me out into the rain 1 month, and then march in to confiscate my sanctuary the next. I printed the email, placed it neatly inside a leather legal folio, and dialed the local county sheriff's department. The heavy crunch of gravel signaled their arrival. A rented SUV pulled up to my stone driveway, stopping right before the front porch. The car doors slammed open simultaneously. My father strode forward with puffed-out authority, my mother trailed closely behind with crossed arms, and Chloe immediately began filming the panoramic coastline with her phone. "Unlock the front door," my father ordered without a greeting, marching up the wooden steps. "We've been on the road for 7 hours. We're moving in, and Chloe needs the second-floor balcony unpacked before sunset for her content stream. Chloe glanced up, chewing gum, her voice dripping with casual entitlement. The lighting up there is amazing. I'm claiming the master suite. You can take the basement guest room like old times. I stepped out onto the porch, closing the solid mahogany door behind me. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't show anger. In my hands, I held a clean, white legal binder. "You're not stepping inside," I said calmly. My father's face flushed dark red. "Don't test me. You bought this place while living under our roof, using family money. That makes this family property. We raised you, and by law, you owe us restitution for the bills you abandoned." "There is no family money," I replied, opening the binder and handing him the top document. "Here is the title deed, purchased through my independent LLC 4 years ago. Here are the bank audits proving every single dollar came from my personal tech consulting earnings. And here," I pointed to the final sheet, "is the 6-year record of the $280,000 I gave you, which you blew on luxury leases and dining while contributing nothing." Before he could rip the paper, a patrol cruiser rolled quietly up the driveway. 2 sheriff deputies stepped out, resting their hands on their utility belts. "Mr. Hartman?" Deputy Evans called out. "Are these the individuals you requested formal trespass warnings against?" My father froze. Chloe's phone slowly lowered, her face draining of color. "Yes, deputy," I answered. "They have 60 seconds to get back into their rental and leave private property, or you may proceed with the arrest." The silence in the driveway was deafening. My father looked from the deputy's badge to the legal documents in his trembling hands. The arrogance that had defined him for decades collapsed into raw humiliation. "Let's go," he muttered hoarsely, not meeting my eyes. Chloe slammed the SUV door in fury, while my mother stared out the tinted glass with tear-filled disbelief as they backed out of the gate and drove away into the fog. Within 2 months, the consequences of their financial carelessness arrived. Unable to sustain the lifestyle I had silently subsidized, the family home entered public foreclosure, and Chloe was forced to take a retail job to pay off her mounting debt. I blocked every number, email address, and social media account linked to them. No arguments, no lingering bitterness, just a clean, permanent line drawn between my life and their toxic entitlement. Now, sitting on my cedar deck on a crisp morning with a warm cup of coffee, I look out at the endless Atlantic horizon. Freedom isn't just about wealth. It's about knowing your worth and refusing to carry the weight of people who would throw you away the moment you stop serving their greed. I was finally home,